Welcome back, everyone, to the Hearthstone Grandmasters for Americas. It's our featured match for the day. Every single day of broadcast, we're going to have one of our head-to-heads be featured for you guys and go more in-depth as to why we feel like it's a cool matchup. Coming up next, we have Amnesiac from Tempo Storm going up against StrifeCro from Sentinels. Two players who have a long legacy in Hearthstone history, which is kind of funny to say about Amnesiac, given that he's still yet to graduate high school.
Yep.
But he's been competing for a few years now, and StrifeCro has been there since the beginning, both some of the top earners and some of the top, in terms of their tournament history, winners in their respective region.
Yeah, that's right. And I think both these players are, it's featured for different reasons for both players. Amnesiac, a little bit more recency, still was one of the top point earners last year, even though he, kind of slowed down towards the end of the year. StrifeCro was one of the most successful players at Hearthstone's beginnings, right? In the first few years, he was cleaning up tournament after tournament and was one of the most respected players back in the day. But is still very much so feared. And while he, dips and dives into different games every now and again, when he comes back to Hearthstone, he's definitely a player to respect.
All right. Why don't we go ahead and get to know our players a little better as we get ready for our featured match.
I'm Will Barton, also Amnesiac, the Young Savage, and you can find me on Twitter at amnesiac_HS. I actually play a lot of tennis and a lot of Hearthstone. Playing both has made me better at both. Tennis is just a slugfest sometimes. You just have to be there longer than the opponent. And I play Hearthstone games where I'm just like, I'm not going to give up. Like, I'm gonna stay in this game. I'm gonna find a way to win. I don't think I would have the drive I had unless I had the amount of talent I had. Because I wouldn't do this if I didn't think I could be the best in the world. After I lost in the World Championship, it was really hard.
Oh, he gets it! Called it! The sap, and Amnesiac is not happy, and understandably so.
Definitely not at my best, but it's just not going to define my career. There was no way. So I decided that I was going to be the person who came back stronger and proved that they were one of the best ever. There's a saying that I really like that's discipline equals freedom. And basically, the more disciplined you're going to be, the more you can break your own rules because you're still existing within a broader framework. If I could use one word to sum up my personality, okay. That's good. If I could use one word to sum up my personality, it would be excellent. No, that's it. It's a soundbite.
Hello, my name is Kong Shu. My handle is StrifeCro and my Twitter is @StrifeCro. My day usually begins with me waking up sometime around noon. I'm a pretty late sleeper. I've never been like the practicing type. I've always been just like playing for fun. I think I'm gonna stay very much like a lazy person. I don't think I can change that about myself. It's just who I am. I think my play is unique in the sense that I'm very technical. I really like to have my thoughts and game plans planned out and go from there.
StrifeCro, known for being possibly the best player in the world.
A lot of players are the opposite, where they are very intuition focused. One of my favorite esports memory, it was like a dream hack when I was playing against Kalento. Eventually he beat me in that game, but I kind of brought the mage to the tournament because I just wanted to show people I could destroy everyone with my kind of troll deck.
This is the craziest game of Hearthstone I've ever seen! Can you believe it?
Amnesiac, he's interesting. He always comes up as kind of a arrogant / cocky player. I think he has a good talent for the game. I noticed he plays pretty fast and intuitively. I would say Amnesiac or Muzzy would be my rivals in this division. I'd feel pretty good if I beat them. Just like Amnesiac, maybe because he's kind of arrogant in some ways. It'd be nice to beat him down.
All right, you heard it from their mouths.
Oh, yeah.
StrifeCro wants to take down Amnesiac a peg or two, only because of the sheer arrogance of the young kid. But you definitely shouldn't sleep on Amnesiac. He is quite the fierce competitor. I think one of the most naturally talented players when it comes to Hearthstone. Just has a really good knack for understanding the game and be able to pick it up really fast. I think I think StrifeCro, while he is still very good and technical at the game too, is in the same boat as Amnesiac. I think both have a lot of confidence coming from their ability to recognize the game and are very intelligent individuals.
Yeah, but nobody has fiercer sound bites than Amnesiac.
Oh,
as
yeah.
we just saw
If you can get him out.
in that clip. If you can get him out, that's right. That's right. Takes a few tries, but when he nails them, he nails them.
Yeah. Two-take Amnesiac. They've been calling him that for years.
Oh, yes, they have. But
Right.
coming from kind of two different perspectives, even though, we said StrifeCro is very confident in his abilities, I think he's also very calm and collected and doesn't often speak his mind too much. And when he does, it's kind of very coy and, subtle. Whereas Amnesiac's kind of just in your face. And I feel like as he gets older, that becomes even more pronounced. Like he's getting more confident and more cocky as the years go by.
Yeah.
Which is usually the opposite. Usually in
Right.
everybody's
Age
younger
brings
years,
experience and wisdom.
yeah, but not for Amnesiac. It brings wisdom and experience, but also arrogance. That's another
College
attribute.
essays, which is very difficult. This kid's going through senior year. Let's go ahead and take a look at their deck lists and get to know what they're actually bringing. It's a warrior versus warrior. Amnesiac bringing a pretty similar list to most people, but I do respect his Archivist Elysiana. That's him having a nod to the fact that he thinks more warriors are going to be brought. And, very similar to most things that we can expect. One copy of Mega Devastator, one Weapons Project, and an Ooze/Harrison split here.
Yeah, and one thing to note about this matchup, this is the first Warrior Mirror matchup that we'll have today in the last, but the first one where both players have Archivist Elysiana in their primary decks. So that means that game number one is not going to be kind of decided from the get-go, as we've seen with Bloody Face versus Eddie or Naukidon versus Raze, which one player had it and the other player didn't. So that's the interesting thing about this one. Take a look at StrifeCro's, very similar. The differences between the decks are
More redundancy.
Yeah, more redundancy. Basically, the one that I can see the biggest is only one Weapons Project for Amnesiac with an Acidic Swamp Ooze thrown in, whereas StrifeCro has two Weapons Project. The other difference is, I don't even know. There's one Town Crier in Amnesiac's deck.
Yeah, and then there's like one Omega Devastator versus two. For StrifeCro.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, it'll be about having those extra minions, right?
Yeah.
Like, those Omega Devastator might look like...
Acolytes.
Oh, Acolytes.
In place of one Town Crier, one Omega
Right.
Devastator, he's chosen Acolytes.
We've seen some players really utilize like just having Omega Devastator as a body versus having an Acidic Swamp Ooze as a body to be able to fight back. And we'll see if that ends up coming to play. However, I feel like the Warrior matchups have largely been dictated based on how the opening hands pan out and then players identifying their role into what they do. So like look at Naugidon versus Race, for example. Several times, both players were constantly evaluating whether or not they were the ones to be aggressive in certain positions. Race was like, okay, Naugidon's beating me down. Do I have to play defensive? He's like, wait, no, I have an opportunity to be aggressive right back, and then I'm the one taking the lead and then cementing it with extra bomb damage.
Yeah.
So I think that as we get ready for this featured match to start in just a moment here, pay close attention to how these players identify what their role is, who's the beatdown, and who's the control player.
Especially as we get to games 2 and 3, once the secondary and tertiary decks are involved. That becomes even more pronounced, as we saw in Eddie versus Bloody Face.
Right.
Eddie, in his testing, realized that his secondary deck versus Bloody Faces, he needed to be the aggressor, and we saw him go all in with that plan and end up winning because of it.
Right. Playing Grom, like a list with Grom and Alex Straza, doesn't exactly sound like the way you'd normally want to beat Warrior because they gain so much life and you can just deal with your threats.
Yeah.
But Eddie was able to piece together a very powerful, like more of a mid-range warrior as opposed to just like a control warrior.
Yeah, he killed him on turn 9, which is not often the case in control warrior versus control warriors. So
right, which is why I'm like, is it even necessarily a control warrior? If you just kind of have a lot of reasonably sized minions with some removal tools, not all of them, with some pressure tools, not all of them. That's just a mid-range deck, straight up.
Yeah,
so
it is.
It's like sometimes you can just completely shift the entire focus of an archetype with a small package of cards.
5, you might say.
Yeah, 5. I mean, some players have the option to change 5.
Yes.
They can choose for less if they really want.
They could literally just put in one card, and
Right.
that's the difference between their secondary deck. Now, oftentimes that's not good, right? Oftentimes you
Right.
want to be able to utilize all 5 to be able to have redundancy against different matchups. But, well, we're going to get into it. And one of the funny things was, you know what I'm going to say? We sent these packages with like backdrops and webcams for all the players. StrifeCro earlier today, like a couple hours ago, a few potentially it could have been like 30 minutes from his matchup, typed in the Grandmaster Discord, man, this backdrop is hard to build.
And also, what's funny is he didn't even position it
He didn't
correctly.
position it correctly.
You're supposed to cover the entire background.
Yeah,
It looks like
well,
it's just a trophy case.
I mean, if this match was determined on who built their backdrops better, StrifeCro would win 100%.
Just by the camera surface area that's being covered.
Amnesiac just hung it on the poles and just put it to the side. Like, come on, man. Give me some effort.
I thought that was some
geez.
kind of flag at first to show pride in his.
That's it. It's just very poorly assembled. Featured matchup indeed, Dan.
Oh man, he is focused. Getting in the is that yogurt and protein? I had the wonderful pleasure of hanging out with Amnesiac over the course of a few days in Taiwan, and just getting to hang out with him. Also at WSOE just a couple months back, and just listening to him talk about the competitor mindset. Not necessarily about being a Hearthstone competitor or being an athlete at school, but just like what it takes to like be able to reach an elite level, mentally, physically. Even like spiritually to a certain extent, just like kind of getting to a Zen-like focus.
Sure.
Fascinating. He talks about every aspect of his life. He is disciplined. He actually goes to sleep on time every day. Wakes up every day. Very strict with his diet. Yeah, eats and he eats and drinks like according to try how he wants to be the best performance-wise. Talks about meditation. Talks about reading books to improve his thought process. Not necessarily about Hearthstone or math, just to improve his, like, to train his brain.
And he's
like, just to get smarter.
He's 18 years old, Dan.
Yeah.
18 years old.
Just a really sharp kid. And yes, he is overconfident. Yes, he has, you know, he raps like a white guy and is unabashed about it. But he's also a fierce competitor in and out of game, which is why you should never sleep on the kid. Amnesiac is a fantastic player.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that just a year ago he was 15. I mean, just a crazy transformation.
Grow up so fast, sometimes defying time and logic.
That's right.
So yeah, that explains why he's probably eating while he's competing, trying to stay on those macros.
These words are
you
right
laugh,
ahead.
but Amnesiac's gonna grow a few more inches, and he's gonna like walk in the door one day like super jacked above, and you're just gonna be like, who is this guy? Because I also lifted with him a little bit in Taiwan. And
No matter
he's
what,
already getting very thick, tight, and solid.
No matter what, he'll never catch up to me on age. So every time I see him, I'm still gonna give him a noogie.
Atomic wedgie.
I'll still be Uncle Teach Amnesiac, no matter how old he gets.
Yes. Great, TJ. Your stories of toxic masculinity never fail to.
Nookies are not gender specific, man. Come on.
I mean, I was the one suggesting a wedge, so I was part of it.
Okay.
All right, so Wrench Caliber introduced early on. Weapons Project shut it down. One of the things that I felt like was kind of interesting to hear from StrifeCro was that he said that Amnesiac plays kind of fast. I think that's not necessarily true. Amnesiac actually plays pretty slow, generally speaking, unless the play seems fairly obvious.
But the second part of that statement, I think, was maybe more so accurate, not 100% accurate, in that Amnesiac, he said, plays a lot of intuition. And that just goes to show that Amnesiac is a very just naturally talented player. He's naturally talented at the game. He does work hard on top of that, so he kind of has a mix between that super analytical style and just having the intuition for the game. Where StrifeCro, self-admittedly, he says he's very analytical and needs to study matchups and gameplay in order to succeed, and can't rely on intuition whatsoever.
One of the things that StrifeCro likes to do a lot too is talk through his plays. You might see him mouthing to somebody, but that's because he's talking to himself. I think he mentioned that it helps verbalize to visualize what ends up happening in the game. It's curious that he's also like super conservative with his resources. Like he's already not playing Clockwork Goblin or playing Wrench Caliber. This is almost like departure entirely from what we've seen other players do, which is scatter their bombs throughout the game. And I feel like if I ask StrifeCro, he's probably going to be like, yeah, I think other players are just like wrong. And that's something that I really respect about him, is that he is willing to go against everybody, even if it's like the best players in the world. He's just willing to challenge it and stand his ground and really think things through. Wow, what a draw.
Well, it's an even game. Both players have Dr. Boom Mad Genius as soon as they can play it.
Yeah, big pickup here for StrifeCro. Very important, too, because Amnesiac would have climbed very far ahead. Scoops.
And does.
Amnesiac has the opportunity to play his own Mad Genius. Needs to get that mana investment out of the way.
Dan, I don't see any of the lines here.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll give it to you straight.
like I said, seems fairly straightforward. Gonna hesitate and think about it. Contrast this with, you know, the way Frozen was like instantly snap playing stuff.
Yeah, and I could argue that there were a few mistakes made along the way.
Sure.
You would say so as well.
And he even learned from it as
He did.
the game was going on.
Yeah.
Delivery drone. Option here for StrifeCro. Mega Devastator or Hecklebot.
Hecklebot.
Hecklebot seems it has some pretty high upside.
It has incredibly high upside. It has, I think, two reasonably high upsides. The first one being, obviously, Elysiana. I mean, there's no Brewmasters, there's no Baleful Maker. So once Elysiana's pulled out, even if you don't deal with it right away, that's it. You all of a sudden have a massive advantage in the series because you have the advantage in fatigue. The other one is Blastmaster Boom, which is not as impactful. It doesn't just outright win you the game in fatigue, but it does pull out a big threat from your opponent. You might as well rip it right away.
Yeah, I definitely think that playing it earlier than later is better. Just gives them less chances to draw Elysiana organically. Dynamatic doesn't really do much, though, in this matchup, so Amnesiac not that upset of losing that card.
Nope, that's one of the better ones. You know, he could have pulled out, say, Acolyte of Pain, which would have made it... Maybe StrifeCro would be able to overdraw. I don't think so. Oh, no, he would have. He would have overdrawn one.
Okay, then.
Oh, no, there's 9 cards in hand, so he wouldn't have. It's not that big of a deal. But this one, with both players having Dr. Boom on 7 and both players running a pretty light bomb package, no augmented Elix, just the double Clockwork Known, double Wrench Caliber, Blastmaster Boom.
This would be a good time for a master
None of these players with their life totals are probably going to be under pressure much at all this series, so I think Elysiana is going to come into the picture. And outside of crazy Hecklebot shenanigans like we just saw the potential for, what you get from Elysiana and how you navigate your hand size and your deck count are pretty big deals. I know I'm looking very far ahead, but also just managing the board state, the turns you know you want to play Elysiana, are also a big deal because as you get to that point in the game, if you play Elysiana, your opponent has 10 damage on board. That's a big life total swing that you're giving over. So there's a lot of just weird hand management, knowing when to spend cards from your hand that are going to be tough to use later on. Those are kind of the big things to look for, and they won't be obvious. A lot of them won't be obvious. Very nuanced matchups. It's long. Yeah, I'll give you that. But
And I do wonder to a certain extent, like how much Amnesiac is prepared. He's been very vocal about how little time he's been able to invest in the Hearthstone because he's closing out his senior year of high school, so he had to he had to apply for college and finish out his varsity tennis. Also, even get ready to go to prom. I mean, honestly, yes, it's great to be a Hearthstone pro, but don't forget things that make your childhood great, which is the very awkward and well, maybe at least for me, uncomfortable night known as senior prom.
yeah. Yeah, I remember interviewing him at the World Championship. I interviewed him on broadcast at the World Championship, and I tried not to ask him any questions about the game because just before that we were chatting and watching the games together, and I was like, "Oh, that's a big draw." And he goes, "What does that card do?"
Yeah, he was.
I was like, "Oh, geez."
He was when he found out about Grandmasters. He said, "Okay, well, since I'm not qualified for the World Championship, I'm just gonna take like a two, 3 month break from Hearthstone, so I can focus on real life and get ready for Grandmasters and reset clear his mind, you know, because he started getting exciting again once you take a break for a while." He was like, "What is Waggle Pick doing? Why did that minion bounce back to the hand?" It was really funny to just like check in with him after seeing him AFK, and everyone else had been playing this the set for like 2 weeks, you know.
Yeah. But I mean, it's understandable because World Championship was played on Conquest, and then you have to kind of reset your mind to Specialist. So.
Weapons Project, went to Caliber, shutting each other down. Tit for tat. Bomb for bomb. StrifeCro draws second Shield Slam, not going to do much here. Wonder if he's starting to get into the territory where it's like, do I just start passing a lot more often, just playing cards like Warpath, you know, just to like pass it over to your opponent? It's hard to say because it seems like he's being conservative with his bomb choices. Now he's finally playing the Clockwork Gnome. I guess because he's forced to. Swinging with the weapon. I guess in his mind, there's not many minions to take down, and he needs to get his opponent's life total down somehow.
Yeah. And they can't go for the keep 10 cards in hand until they draw some of their key tools like Omega Assemblies and Archivist Elysiana.
Right.
Those are just the main value generators in the deck.
Yeah, and also because the draw has been relatively even. Both players have 1 bomb in the deck out of 16. It's not like it's an easy draw card opportunity. They don't want to get too far ahead in fatigue because they both have the Elysiana set up. Amnesiac is behind on the tempo. He does have a fairly straightforward opportunity to clear off most of this with the Eternium Rover.
Oh, I love that fuse.
Clockwork Goblin's also not that big up here. Oh, this is fairly clever. I like it. Being able to squeeze out a little bit extra armor if they're using the Warpath.
Yeah, life total is actually a pretty big deal in this matchup.
Right.
Because when both players are going even like that, you just have much more additional time.
Yeah, 68 versus 38.
Yeah.
I mean, you do that.
And we're talking a long ways down the line. We're talking like post Archivist Elysiana, once you get to actual fatigue. That's given both players have equally powerful decks post Archivist Elysiana. Which isn't always the case because you can discover, you know, any card in the game that's legal to put in a warrior deck. Could be a big discrepancy between one player's 10-card deck and the other player's 10-card deck.
Don't really see much here. I think dropping a Dynamatic is okay for StrifeCro. Just needs to get something out of his hand.
Is the toughest card to use? I feel like we've said that a million times so far today. But it is tough. I'm just in a perpetual state of deja vu.
Okay. He values the Dynamatic a little bit more, probably because of its mech traits. Amnesiac chews with his mouth open. Oh,
God.
Oh, man. He's going for another bite.
Oh, no.
I can just hear it through this camera.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
It's making me hungry, too. I don't even know what he's eating. He could be eating, like Elmer glue or whatever. Like,
it's sour cream and olives.
Could be.
Defend the gates!
But
It could just be the fattiest ice cream you could possibly imagine, and everything you said about
I know,
his
it's
body as
just
a
like
temple is just out the window.
it's like just gave up completely.
We can't see his jutting gut from our camera angle.
All right, enough staring at Amnesiac. Let's look at his hand. He's got the Clockwork Goblin and Omega Assembly. Doesn't have enough hand space for the Omega Assembly, and honestly, the Omega Assembly might just be better the later the game goes to assure that you can get the 10-card hand to stop the bombs from going.
Yeah.
The best thing going for Amnesiac is that he's forcing StrifeCro to play cards, and then he can react. Like Dynamatic in this spot actually has use, so I like the Dynamatic.
Yeah, and the thing about the 10-card hands to negate bombs is not super relevant since, like I said, both these players are running the light bomb package. And the Wrench Caliber's already gone, so it's like...
Oh, I love that fuse thing.
2 Clockwork Goblins, maybe more from Discover effects. That's something to keep in mind.
Wow, pass. Huh. I guess he doesn't play a card unless he feels absolutely need to.
Well, he's forcing StrifeCro to have to play things. He's got the life total advantage, which means that, I mean, he's the one that's kind of free. He's also got like 1 card less, which means that StrifeCro at 10 cards has to play, is forced to play a card, and then Amnesiac can react to it instead of having to play a card in an empty board.
Greed from StrifeCro, attack, then Wrench Caliber. Trying to squeeze out every point of damage. He knows that Amnesiac's on full hand, so if he plays Harrison, he will be overdrawing. And Amnesiac does not want to do that because he needs his... Oh! Hold on!
Yep, the Acidic Swamp Ooze tech.
It's nice.
Yeah, 1 copy in Amnesiac's primary deck. He did remove it in both his secondary and tertiary decks, so that's an interesting point to note. Maybe we can talk about that in future episodes of Warrior vs. Warrior here at Hearthstone Grandmasters.
I think he just anticipates Rogue a lot more. Amnesiac was a big believer from when I was playing. I was laddering alongside with him when he was making his climb from rank 19 to legend.
Woo!
Actually, I was like trying to race him to see who can end up ahead. But I started at rank like 9, and he was at 19.
Did you win?
And I won barely by like 2 stars.
Okay, then.
You want to race to Legend on fresh accounts right now while these guys play their match?
Sounds good. So yeah, sorry. When we were doing our like pseudo ladder race, Amnesiac was very convinced that Rogue was the best class in the game, and so I think based off like that belief, because Amnesiac's very much a proponent of like you just play the good decks type of player. It's probably directly to try to counter things like the waggle pick roads and whatnot. It's interesting that he chose to draw the cards and he's like not afraid of it. He's not afraid of like going too far into fatigue. And you know, I also am I'm also ascribing to the idea that Elysiana often doesn't like dictate who wins. It's usually like who can grab the tempo. So like Elysiana, what really matters is like the quality of minion you discover. It's not really about your resource count, because if you budget your resources, you should be able to answer everything until you hit like a hard wall where you like can't deal with one threat, and then your opponent stacks on it, and then you just
Yeah, after talking to a lot of players and even other casters about it, it seems like just draw cards. I mean, like being 2 less than the 50 count's not a big deal at all, because as you mentioned, the games that go to the turn timer are not really the bomb warrior matchups. They're more the control versus control matchups where you have Elysiana plus bouncers, and even those games rarely go to the turn limit.
Right, they really rarely do. Like people talk about like the reason why people have this feeling, or sorry, rather have the disdain for Elysiana, is because the feeling of that it goes on forever until the time limit, even though very few games actually do.
Or the feeling of when you're playing a non-warrior deck or a warrior deck without Elysiana, them just having 10 extra cards oftentimes
it just seems like such an insurmountable.
But in mirror matchups, and also like let's talk about Master Store qualifiers. out of any given round, let's say there's 20 Warrior Mirror matchups going on. There's rarely that many also. But let's say there's 20. If one of those goes to the turn limit, it's only 5% of those matchups that are going to the turn limit. But because Masters Tour qualifiers are Swiss,
You have to wait for everyone.
you have to wait for everyone to finish, so it can sometimes feel like more go to the turn limit in every sense than actually do. And we joked about it earlier. We said, "Are you ready for turn limit?" Blah 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 blah. Me and Dan talking about stuff. Blah 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 blah. That's what we sound like. It was mostly in jest. It was mostly just laughing at our own pain. Sad clown.
Well, I just want to give them a fair warning about what they're about to get themselves involved in. This is a Friday evening or even Saturday for some of these people who tune in to watch. And I appreciate each and every one of them. I just want to let them know what they're getting into.
Yeah. You hear that? We appreciate all of you.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Yeah.
Except you.
Yeah.
You know who you are.
It's because they eat with their mouth open, too.
Yep. Those are the ones.
StrifeCro doesn't have much to do here. I guess he can just warpath and clear. His hand is like 9 cards of removal, or 8 cards of removal and a Mega Assemblies. Elysiana comes in the hand. Amnesia doesn't have to play a card. He's actually on 9. Yep. Asarino. All right. StrifeCro takes some bomb damage.
And the big thing there was Amnesiac actually diffused the Blastmaster Boom without much reciprocation. Just kind of dealt with it, held on to most of his life total, held on to a lot of his key resources, and now he's just kind of back to square one with one big threat gone from StrifeCro's deck. So
Right.
it kind of came and went. We were kind of talking about other things, but that's actually a surprisingly big deal, and he has a 28 health advantage here. That's almost a full starting hero's worth of health that he has as an advantage over StrifeCro right now.
Beryllium Nullifier comes down. A little bit hard to remove, but Amnesiac can through the Dynomatic and the Militia Commander.
It's what resources he wants to expend here, though.
Right.
He could also do it with Militia Commander Ziliax, but Ziliax is good, especially in the late game, like post a Mega Assembly to latch it onto another large mech to make something that's just very hard to remove, or to have a big health swing once you actually start taking damage once your armor's been depleted.
Okay, then.
Yeah. Could be also a Wrench Caliber setup here.
Yeah, he's got the health to work with. It's only 3. It's only 3 damage. Well, it's a big minion that can be magnetized onto. He also gets to keep around the Militia Commander and maybe put a little bit more pressure on with some additional bombs. So definitely seems like the most efficient way.
StrifeCro draws the bomb.
And StrifeCro's had a significant lack of blast shields.
Yeah, he's been having more of like the build the board or like delivery drone stuff.
But it hasn't advanced his game plan whatsoever. He's just playing a card every turn. That's effectively what he's doing.
Right.
Amnesiac's weaving in a little bit of damage, a little bit of pressure here and then just because of the bombs.
Okay, then.
I guess in this spot, I kind of wonder what StrifeCro's saving his Dynomatic for.
Light the fuses!
I guess in this very moment, he's just going to go ahead and pull the trigger. That's taking it slow.
That's precisely what he was saving the Dynomatic for.
Oh, yes, all calculated. Amnesia climbing just a little bit more ahead every single turn. You know, and I gotta say that he's not known to be a control player, but he's doing a pretty good job, at least getting resources out. I guess he is playing faster pace through drawing a little bit more aggressively than I've seen and am personally comfortable with myself. But he's doing a good job balancing it while putting a decent amount of pressure on.
And he's holding on to the key resources like Shield Slam, like Brawl. Those are like the emergency tools that you need to buy yourself a little bit of additional time. He's been able to pick apart this board with other things. And be very patient.
All right, bombs have been invested. StrifeCro picks up his Elysiana. Now can finally free up his hand for the delivery drone that he keeps getting. Ooh, Boom Reaver seems pretty nice. Boom Reaver is particularly interesting when you start doing things with Archivist Elysiana, because
Yes.
you can kind of, you know, I've obviously isolated and pick some really powerful big minions if you get them.
The Mega Devastator does just have a lot more use cases when you're kind of playing defensively. You know, oftentimes I just snap pick Omega Devastator. Like, it's just so good. It is the juice.
I can see it going either way. I kind of like Boom Reaver.
This is
a
one
little
of the
bit.
key things where I think Boom Reaver, because he can hold on to it and see what he picks up from Archivist Elysiana, the game hasn't reached a critical mass yet. You know, kind of not even close.
Oh, there's finally a bomb that goes off. Amnesiac with the second Omega Assembly. Has a Clockwork Goblin available to him. Still kind of waiting on when he wants to pull the trigger on things like Omega Assembly, just to keep their options open here.
Problem is, the cards in his hand are not easy to play, or they're high value to where you don't want to play them onto a small board like this one.
Yeah, like, I mean, you could do the same thing that StrifeCro was doing, which was Dynamatic on the board, and then use a 3-4 to trade with its rush. Clockwork Goblin also an option, as we were talking about. First Omega Assembly used.
Ooh.
Is that a pinata? No, it's an unpowered Steam bot.
Did get Beryllium Nullifier, though. That's one of the better ones.
Yeah, Nullifier on the Steam bot in particular seems like it's gonna never die, ever.
Yeah, outside of a Brawl. That is a 317 that's untargetable. That's insane.
Well, until you have the Mega Devastators to basically kill it.
Yeah. But 17 health dodges a Mega Devastator plus the rush, but if he takes it out immediately, then that negates it. And again, back to square one. Both players trading cards back and forth, keeping their hand at 9, waiting to play Archivist Elysiana to see who gets the better deck.
Oh, Blastmaster Boom.
I have not been keeping track of bombs.
I think it should be 2 bombs in the deck.
I think only
Oh no, but one of them, one at most, because one of them exploded, I remember.
Yeah, I think 1, and judging by how many cards they've drawn, I may say 2, but
this would be a good time for a master.
no, I think it might be 2. 2 full wrench calibers plus, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But Amnesiac has drawn, what, 3 additional cards? So if he's drawn 3 additional cards, then we can put StrifeCro down to 6, and he was on the play.
This
then
would
we
be
can
a
assume
good
that there's
time
2.
for a master plan.
We'll see. There's no rush.
I mean, I think if he has 2 bombs, he should still go for it.
Oh, yeah, 3.
That use thing.
So well, yeah, looking at card counts, if he's drawn 3 extra cards, then yeah, that would make sense. But it felt like he had a lot of bombs pulled from StrifeCro's side.
Does he even want a hero power if his opponent has Brawl?
I don't know. I was so diligent when tracking bombs in every other matchup, and then the fourth Warrior Mirror is when
And TJ crap.
when I cracked and stopped. I told myself, TJ, you're gonna keep track of bombs today.
You did well.
I looked at myself in the mirror this morning. I said, "You're great. You're the greatest bomb tracker to ever live."
Boombots pile in for the damage. 5, 9, 13.
Wow.
Jeez. All right, well, he's got the delivery drone, and he's got the Eternium rover to gain back a little bit of that life. Hecklebot, probably something he's thinking about. There's not that many minions left, though, so that's the thing. He might be helping Amnesiac if, like, he plays at least, if he doesn't get this Hecklebot to land on anything. Actually, not necessarily helping him, but he's not really doing much to Amnesiac because he can deal with the 3-8 fairly easily. Amnesiac's boombots do so much damage. Jeez.
I'm almost out of cards.
So if I'm counting correctly, Amnesiac's last card is a bomb. I could be mistaken.
That's the case, and this may be the safest turn he'll ever be able to play Archivist Elysiana.
Right.
Essentially on an empty board.
Yeah.
And then we get to see what's in the
This
box.
story deserves a new ending.
Ooh.
So obviously the way you win, if you're like drawing a lot more aggressively, are minions. So I don't know if Execute is the real thing compared to the Ember Drakes. In this case, best minion is Archmage. It's not anything great though.
Corkin Elite.
Yeah, Super Flyer is also good.
Rotten Apple Bomb is actually interesting too because it
Oh my gosh! Another Archivist Elysiana.
all right.
And he's just like, well, okay. I guess that simplifies my decision making a lot.
Archivist Elysiana from Archivist Elysiana. He has 2 more in his deck. He has 2 more. Now, with that information, Amnesiac can literally just play defense the whole game.
Right. And then
bring him to fatigue, and then unleash the second Elysiana.
what if StrifeCro pulls it through the Hecklebot, though?
Then he still has another one.
Oh,
He still
okay
has a
then.
second one. Go for it. Pull it with the Hecklebot.
Oh, man.
And then StrifeCro's going to get that piece of information. He's like, oh no, I have to get to another Elysiana after that.
We legitimately might go to the turn timer here.
I don't know, because Amnesiac also has picked up Corkin Elite, and he's got 3
Right.
bombs still left in the
That's
deck.
true. Just straight up damage.
So
This
straight
would
up
be
just
a good
damage
time
could
for a
could
master
potentially end
plan.
it.
Light the fuses!
StrifeCro saving all of his life gain for now. So that way he can be able to bounce back up to 30. Second Elysiana comes
Oh,
in. Yeah.
jeez, Dan.
Did I do something wrong, TJ? Am I a bad person?
No.
Amnesiac doesn't have the Omega Devastator for a clean kill.
This would be a
Can you
good time
Shield
for a
Slam?
master plan.
Perhaps he can also just give life if he trades in Kaboombot. It deals 2 damage and then 4 with the Death Rattle. You give your opponent 6 extra life.
Yeah, he could also do the same thing that StrifeCro just did, which is Dynamatic plus Ziliax and get the clean trade.
This would be a good time for a master
That's full main
plan.
expenditure and 2 resources gone. He doesn't get any health gain from it, so...
Oh, I love that fuse
Kaboombot
thing.
plus Ziliax plus the Kaboom.
Yeah, that also works too.
Yep.
So you can save Dynamatic.
This is honestly more efficient because you get 1 damage to the face as well.
StrifeCro draws a bomb. You can see why Amnesiac was still pressing in for damage because he wanted to be able to land that bomb explosion. StrifeCro has easy removal through shield slams, but again, these are premium removal tools that you want to try to hold on to as long as you can. What does the Mega Assembly give? Wow.
Mechathune.
Mechathune. Oh my gosh. But his hand's so expensive. How on earth is he going to get to the Mechathune stage?
Yeah, and it's impossible with Elysiana not being played. Nearly impossible.
Right.
Because you have to play Elysiana first, which means that you're filling your deck back up with 10 cards. So Mechathune, I mean, it's a 10-10 with Rush. Cool. I mean, that's the cool part about it.
Wow.
Also, double Boom Reaver in hand, so, you know, post Elysiana, he's going to be able to apply a lot of pressure. Amnesiac just draws Runner, Elysiana.
All right, getting both out, so Hecklebot can't
for a
land on
master
them.
Yeah.
plan.
I mean, you know what they say, Dan, you can't spell Amnesiac without Elysiana.
I feel like they do share a lot of letters for sure. Amnesiac's like okay with the idea of Ackley coming down because he just has so much in reserve for the Elysiana tank.
Yeah, and StrifeCro might be confused by the Accolade of Pain play.
Right. In fact, he might want to just Dynomatic this, right, to make him draw cards.
Yeah, he would force him to overdraw one. But outside of that, does he have a way to try and pick apart this board to protect his life total more? Because they only have access to 5 mana.
Okay, then.
Right.
Light the fuses!
Oh, Amnesiac pick Mask Contender.
Ah, I mean, it's cheaper than the Archmage, which was the other option.
That's fair.
Somebody order a bomb!
Kind of weird that StrifeCro shuffled the bomb after he just made Amnesiac draw the 10. In fact, there's a 1 in 6 chance that Amnesiac just burns the bomb. It was like the most galactic brain play of all time. Corcon Elite.
Well, StrifeCro is probably feeling pretty good. He's like, okay, now I'm really far ahead in fatigue. I still have Archivist Elysiana. I have all this this gas in my hand,
And they're like even. So
and we're like even. So StrifeCro's got to be feeling pretty good right about now. I'm just excited to see the look on his face once Archivist Elysiana 2 comes down, because then he'll also know in his heart of hearts, and also just by basic calculation and game knowledge, that a second Archivist Elysiana is somewhere in there.
yeah, I mean, Amnesiac playing so aggressively might mean that he has ways to combat fatigue in any way, and then StrifeCro has to figure out a way to get ahead on the tempo. And right now, it looks like he has the Boom Reaver opportunity. I kind of wonder on his end how long he wants to wait for an Elysiana play as well.
Save the best for last!
Like, the Omega Devastator here makes total sense. What's he going to do in the future turns? Another Boom Reaver! Another Clockwork Goblin!
He has 4 10-cost cards in his hand. And going to keep his hand full because I think he has 2 bombs out of his 3 cards left in his deck. So very likely that he just discards one of the bombs to keep his life healthy. So heads up play. Now the goal for Amnesiac is to just not die. Like, he's going to win in fatigue, so he should just make sure that he lives. And it might be tough with StrifeCro just having all these large minions. Omega Devastator, great pickup though.
All right, Mask Contenders hit the board. StrifeCro. How long is he going to hold on to this Elysiana?
Well, I mean, he should play it this turn because I believe the last 2 cards in his deck are both bombs. And this board is not incredibly threatening.
This would be a good time for a master
It's just 4 damage.
Right. He also has Rim Team.
Imagine if he gets Elysiana for his discovery.
And we are going to the tournament.
Pretty much, unless he just kills Amnesiac with all these giant minions that he has in his hand.
The Boom Ship.
Wait a second.
Dude, the Boom Ship with
Wait a second.
with the overkill. Oh, looks like he picked Witchwood Grizzly.
Dragon Roar.
If he can find a dragon. Wrench Caliber.
Wrench Caliber.
Darius Crowley is also a case
Yeah,
worth debating for.
that's a reasonable Elysiana. That's a lot of good options. Especially if you pick Boom Ship and then got Dragon's Roar.
Right.
That's a lot of synergy.
Well, Amnesiac can deal with the Elysiana very easily through the Mega Devastator.
Dan, you were keeping track of turns, right?
I was at one point, but then I lost track. They're around like turn 22 or so, and then I lost track.
Let's see, Amnesiac.
We have a lot more Hearthstone to play before we hit the turn timer, though.
Yes, I think we're halfway. I don't think it's going to come to that. I think StrifeCro doesn't have enough cards. Amnesiac definitely has enough cards.
I don't disagree there. Omega Devastator hits the board. Omega Assembly.
Oh, I love that music.
The Clockwork Automaton is nice with the hero power, but you can't even use that right now.
That noise that just squeaked out of your mouth, it just sums up this whole game.
Would you like it just a little bit more flamboyant?
Yes. I did actually. I enjoyed that much more. Thank you for that.
30-27, StrifeCro is officially beyond the max life capacity of
Halftime Scavenger.
Even
yes.
more armor, yes! Thought I was at 30 life. And now I'm back.
Almost out of cards.
All right, now gain as much tempo as possible to set up for another Elysiana next turn.
One thing is for sure is the longer this game goes, the more devastating it is to lose.
Yes.
It's because you feel like you invested so much time only just to lose and be down and you have to do it all over again.
Yep. All over again. Now, the secondary and tertiary decks could come into play, but they may not. They could just stick with their primary decks and then we're back to square one.
The mind games.
Oh, Clockwork Automaton. Kaboom deals 2 damage.
Then.
Just a fun fact for you, Dan. How about that?
So what is Amnesiac planning to do here? Is he just going to load up on minions?
Load up on minions and set up for Elysiana.
I mean, he could just Clockwork Automaton and hero power. Deals double damage. It's not bad. It's a consecration, if you think about it.
I did think about it, and I came to the same conclusion.
Another Boom Reaver. StrifeCro's fed up with waiting. Like Darius Crowley.
Wow, okay.
It's kind of amazing, not gonna lie.
Well, this is gonna make it a little bit more awkward for Amnesiac to play his Archivist Elysiana here.
That's okay, you can take a fatigue damage.
Yeah, you can take a fatigue damage. You can also just pick apart this board. You could, you know.
This story deserves a new ending.
The jig is up, StrifeCro.
Wow, Dimensional Ripper has potential to be absolutely bonkers. Another
Emberscale Drake.
Emberscale Drake, which stacks on each other. Another Rotten Apple.
What?
Bomb.
What are the odds?
Dragon's Roar to copy your Drakes.
What?
Well, probably Berserker seems better. Night Prowler is also fairly interesting. Although, I think StrifeCro realizes, oh my gosh, he got Elysiana off Elysiana. I have to find a way to win this game.
Yeah.
Or, StrifeCro could also, alternatively, go for a draw. And by going for a draw, what he'll end up doing is giving a win to both players.
Yep. What are the odds that you get... Emberscale Drake I get. It's a warrior card. From Discover Effects, you're more likely to get warrior cards. But Emberscale Drake and Rotten Apple Bomb. Dan, do the math for me. What are the odds?
About Tree Fitty.
Okay, then.
Thanks, Dan. 350% or 3.50% or 0.350% or 0.0350% or 0.00350%. Which one?
Yes.
Thanks, Dan.
There it is. The overkill. Wow, that's a big board. It's gonna have 10 attack.
Yeah, Amnesiac might just...
It's a big board. Linecracker, nothing to shake your fist at when it has Rush. Oh, Amnesiac ended up picking up the slam, by the way.
And keep in mind, StrifeCro does have Mechathune.
Oh, right. Oh, man.
So, you know, fringe case, I know. You don't have to tell me that, I know.
That's maybe why the Boom Reavers being able to come out here are good, because it draws out the removal, and then StrifeCro has his win-win where Mechathune either sticks on the board or it dies.
Yeah, and even though the cards in his hand are expensive, he definitely has time to play all this. He's the aggressor right now. While he'll lose in fatigue, naturally, Mechathune can offset that. So Amnesiac, while getting Elysiana off Elysiana is great. You're going to win in fatigue. That's not counting the fact that your opponent can get Mechathune and has got Mechathune. So a weird game all around. And it's about halfway done.
Oh yeah, we're very realistically we are gonna hit the turn timer.
Oh, Darius Crowley wins the brawl.
It's not what Amnesiac wants to see, but at least it's not the Linecracker.
Oh yeah, the Dragon Roars make Mechathune a little bit tougher, but they also just give you gas.
Well, there's no dragons in the hand. Oh, sorry, it adds 2 dragons.
It adds 2 dragons.
I was thinking about the War Master Voon, which adds copies of dragons to your hand.
Yes.
Okay, then.
Dragon Roar is just a straight up value generation card. And especially if he gets Deathwing from Dragon's Roar, then Mechathune is not an option anymore.
Well, it is if you play Mechathune and then it doesn't die, or
This would be a good time for a
you
master
can discard it,
board.
or it dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
It's impossible.
Oh, that's so funny. What the heck? That's such a weird combo.
Oh, I love that.
Just straight up impossible. All right, more pressure from StrifeCro. And the one thing that Amnesiac's Elysiana shuffles did not do was add defensive cards to his deck. He has Ember Scale Drake, but other than that, he didn't pick up like Brawl or Warpath or any type of additional removal. And he just doesn't really have a way to deal with this. StrifeCro can keep putting another minion on the board and then keep chucking away some damage.
Steel Rager, decent damage, 4 mana 5. 5/1 rush. So he can slam or Hogsteed 1, rush the other one. It's not great.
This music is very fitting for the climate of this game.
A Mega Devastator, wow. Big pickup here from StrifeCro. That's something that Amnesiac wish he got. To be able to Mega Devastator the Linecracker right back. StrifeCro also can just keep stacking this Linecracker bigger and bigger. No Zari?
What?
To restore yourself back to full life?
Even Carry-On Drake is not terrible.
Oh my goodness, it's gonna actually happen. It's going to actually happen, TJ. I've never casted a game that went to the turn.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I think StrifeCro is gonna kill him.
It's going to happen.
No, Dan. Don't you say it. Amnesiac's just gonna die before that happens.
I don't know. Dimensional Ripper, what does he have in his deck?
He played both Henchclan Hogseeds, I believe. He has Rotten Apple Bomb, Ember Scale Drake if he took it.
Right.
I think those are the only minions, because then he has 2 Dragon's Roars.
Right.
But at this point, he just has to kill this Linecracker, or else
Yeah, he takes too much
he'll
damage.
be under too much pressure, yeah.
He doesn't have many more brawls. StrifeCro just keeping the tempo up, and this is a prime example. Wow, another Linecracker. This is a prime example of what we're talking about, though, that yes, you can have all the Elysiana bounces in the world, but you still need to win the board. And StrifeCro is keeping that momentum up for now, doing it immaculately by just layering his pressure very carefully. And now he's gotten a lot of information. He's like, okay, he spent Core Chronicling number 2 and a Steel Rager. Maybe I can just go ahead and add pressure to the board. He goes with Nazari, which I kind of thought he was going to go with the Line Cracker since he had trouble dealing with one already.
Yeah. Oh, he picked Frothing Berserker. I think that was over Dragon Roar. Ooh, was hoping for Omega Devastator, didn't hit it. And yeah, I think he's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it's one of those things where maybe we even can go back to reevaluate Amnesiac's choices off the Elysiana, because if he's choosing these more proactive / defensive cards, like, is it the right combination given the state of the game?
And even how he played his hand before he played his second Elysiana. He kind of just threw his cards willy-nilly, used shield slams on smaller targets. There could have
passed up an execute choice to try to...
Yeah, there could have been an option for him to just play defensively. You know you're going to win a fatigue, just pick the most defensive options.
They'd be thirsty.
That's my line of thinking. Because StrifeCro, his Elysiana just packs a punch. That's effectively what he's doing. And Amnesiac's just packs a much smaller
lunch.
It packs a lunch.
One packs a punch, one packs a lunch.
Okay, then.
Well, Dan, that analogy does not work because I would choose a lunch over a punch any day of the week.
Or you make some punch for your lunch, and it's win-win-win.
Yes. I would still choose a second lunch over a lunch and a punch.
Second lunch doesn't have quite the ring to it.
Dan, in fact, I will go so far as to say, given the choice of anything in the world and a lunch, I would pick a lunch.
What about a second dinner? StrifeCro gonna go for this Omega Devastator, trying to load up as much pressure onto the board as possible.
As long as it keeps out arrows.
No brawl for Amnesiac. This is looking bad.
Oh, yeah.
He might have to go for a Hail Mary attempt. Like, maybe he goes for Elysiana to try to find a brawl. All right, that helps.
It helps, but what does it do? It delays your death by one turn. And he just concedes. Wow, StrifeCro. I think he's even surprised by that one.
How did he win despite Amnesiac getting Elysiana, which gave him another Elysiana?
Bigger minions.
StrifeCro's like, I'm taking a bathroom break. Don't watch pervs. That's why you put the screen to cover the camera, StrifeCro, so you can do your own business without us knowing and teasing you about it.
Yeah, that's why you don't wait until the day of to build your backdrop. It is difficult. It takes some time.
Whew. Yeah, speaking of difficult taking time, that's only game 1 of this best of 3. We might be right back at it. And I think Amnesiac also conceded while knowing he still had outs to play, but he didn't want to waste any more time.
Yeah.
So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, game number 2 of our featured matchup, Amnesiac versus StrifeCro.
So you're probably wondering why I gathered you here. Let me take a moment and break it down. We've been given black eyes by the good guys. Oh, but that's about to change. Those meddlesome mortals who've mucked up our missions will finally feel some of our pain. You see, I have a devious plan that requires a demonstrative fist, and each of you will have your dreams come true as a fiendish finger of peace. What? All right. Let me try this again. Alone, all our dreams went. Kaboom! Yes, but united we'll take the candle. No fifth again. I'm seeing what you want to do. Let me hit it. We'll come together so we can dismantle. Now here's the plot to capture your greed and intrigue. We'll take Dalaran for all that it's got. As we form an evil league.
My name is Elias Sibelius and I go under Boston. My username actually comes from my cat. His name is Boston, so I just took that and made it a bit cooler with the triple Z. So yeah, shout out to him. When I got the confirmation that I was in Grandmaster, I was overwhelmed by emotions. Even though I haven't had the first place big tournament win, they actually appreciate that consistency and what I've been working for the last couple of years. I'm very good at focusing on a specific thing and keeping myself ready for the situation. Yeah, and my games and stuff like that. My favorite memory is still my first DreamHack. I remember facing Super JJ. I was a total newcomer, so it was very big for me to just be there and just realizing that I could actually beat all these players, and it was very cool. My personal goals for this year is I want to qualify for the playoff. Of course, I want to go to the global finals. That's, I think, everyone's goal, but I want to be one of the best players. I will try my best to get there, for sure.
We are on potentially the final game here for the America's Hearthstone Grandmasters kickoff day number 1, as StrifeCro's up 1-0 over Amnesiac after quite the marathon. Back and forth. And it did not actually end up with the story ending that we thought.
No, it did not.
It deserves a better ending. Perhaps not the one that we were anticipating here, TJ.
No, despite Amnesiac getting Archivist Elysiana from Archivist Elysiana, having almost a guaranteed win if it went to the full fatigue.
Right.
After every card was spent, StrifeCro able to apply the pressure with Linecracker, Darius Crowley, the triple Boom Reaver that he got off of his Discover effects, was able to take the game, and that honestly surprised me. Once I saw Amnesiac pick up the triple Archivist Elysiana, I was like, okay, well, it's going to take a while, but Amnesiac's going to win. But no, he did not. Yeah. But now it's time for game number 2. And both players have decided to switch decks. StrifeCro is going with his secondary deck. He's taken out 2 Eternium Rovers and 2 Dynamatics in a weapons project for Baleful Banker, Augmented Elec, Sephorium Bomber, and Mojo Master Zihi. Very interesting inclusions, where Amnesiac has decided to go for his tertiary deck, which also takes out Eternium Rover, Acidic Swamp Ooze, and Shield Block, and put in Baleful Banker, Augmented Elec, Cairn Bloodhoof, Grom Hellscream, and Alex Straza. So very beefy mid-game stuff. Both players having access to Baleful Banker for double Elysiana.
Yeah, but Amnesiac actually has reasonable threats in his deck, which I can totally get behind. One thing that I think is also apparent is that Amnesiac's inexperience, I think, going into the late stages of the game. I don't think that he made a lot of technical errors in his actual card, into the way he played his card. I think it comes down to some things like card choice and a little bit of his timing, and largely due to the fact that he doesn't have a lot of repetitions. You know, and I don't like necessarily being critical of someone that I consider actually a pretty good friend of mine, but I do think Amnesiac needs to tighten up a little bit of his macro decisions. I think his micro decisions are perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean, these matchups are very difficult, and sometimes they do come down to just what you get from Archivist Elysiana, but even if we look at some of his choices, he had the option to go with much bigger threats and much more defensive options, like Execute, and decided not to, which could have been the difference maker in the game, especially when you consider he didn't have the information that he had Archivist Elysiana yet, but knowing that he was in the driver's seat there. So, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's
Elysiana was his last choice from Elysiana. So if he had known that his 5th choice was going to be another Elysiana, he would have had the information that he could play a lot more defensively.
True.
And not have to be proactive with his tools.
Right. The Execute, of course, is just an example of it. It's more... no, you're absolutely right. Like, it could have easily gone the other way if Amnesiac's like, oh, like, you know, I might have to be very conservative with these resources because I'm behind. I have to play aggressively. So it's just, yeah, it's not, maybe not necessarily with the card choices there either. It could just be like, did he rush by drawing too many cards early on? Like, and force himself into a situation where he needs to play aggressive to do that. You know, like, for example, he was willing to draw pretty aggressively through his Harrison Jones. And he was also trying to play Lysiana a little bit quicker than his opponent because of that, and things snowball out of control. He's playing Acolyte on curve. You know, and these are things that I feel like if you ask a lot of Warrior experts, that there's going to be a few groups who have very strong opinions that you should always do this and you should never do that. And sometimes people are like, well, it's okay. You have to like draw more aggressively because you have to eventually win on tempo. I think that's kind of the interesting thing. And part of what makes it even more fascinating is that almost no one has the discipline to practice and vet everything out. Because you can play a couple games of Warrior vs. Warrior and go the distance, but you need more than just like 5 games of a sample size in order to come to a conclusion, right?
Which is a lot to ask of a player.
Right.
To play a significant amount of games of Warrior versus Warrior. And not only that, but a significant amount of games of not only your primary deck, but also your potential secondary deck and your opponent's potential secondary deck. It is a gruesome reality when it comes down to it.
You're asking them to go deep every single game and explore a bunch of weird interactions like Archivist Lysiana, which opens up a world of possibilities of like combination of cards you're looking for. And you have to be in different game states. Like, one, you're behind. One, you're even. One, you're ahead. What does that look like? What are all the permutations that go with it, too? You know, what's the life counter? Do you have an extra bowl of sour cream and olives next to you?
The food of elite athletes all across the world.
5 bombs in StrifeCro's deck. And I think that's as good of a start as you can ask for Amnesiac. And he has Dr. Boom Mad Genius. Things are looking good for the young Savage.
Now, with his game plan, that's the wrong Dr. Boom, but
sure.
Is Dr. Boom Mad Genius ever the wrong Dr. Boom? I don't think so.
I don't want. If Dr. Boom Mad Genius is the wrong choice, I don't want to ever be right. Dynamatic, adding to the extra tempo and pressure. Could actually squeeze in that Town Crier as well.
Light the fuses!
Reasonable pressure here coming out from StrifeCro, or coming out from Amnesiac. StrifeCro has to react. He's got Wrench Caliber.
Nice.
It's got Wrench Caliber and Shield Slam, and I think that, you know, Shield Slam is still fairly important as the game goes on to deal with these bigger minions and threats. No fear! Absolutely no fear.
Wow.
And Amnesiac has an opportunity to really punish this and push more damage, or you can go for the Dr. Boom Mad Genius.
So he can go for a second Dynamatic here.
Yes.
He trades in and goes for, trades in the Town Crier and goes for second Dynamatic, pushes 6.
Yeah, with 9 on the board and 5 bombs invested.
Yeah.
Just the Militia Commander as well.
Defend the gates.
That works too. He gets to push more damage this turn.
Yep.
He's gonna invest his Acolyte as well. Now you have Dynamatic Acolyte.
Acolyte gives you the counter to Warpath.
Oh, I like that.
But it plays more into Brawl, I guess. StrifeCro only has 1 copy of Brawl in every deck except his Tertiary, which he did not queue. The Tertiary has 2 copies.
How do you know? Like, what's the difference maker again? So it's the...
He took out Eternium Rover, Weapons Project, Dynamatic. And he put in Baleful Banker, double Augmented Elix, Sephorian Bomber.
It's the Augmented Elix and the Sephorian Bomber that should alert him what kind of deck he's playing against. But the anti-Warpath tech, I like it. You know, forcing your opponent to make you draw cards, which maybe StrifeCro is okay with, and so is Amnesiac. That's a fine-looking hand if you're Amnesiac shoes. StrifeCro just playing the defensive game. He does not have the bomb train compared to Amnesiac.
Yeah,
even though he put more bombs in the deck.
I'm just setting up Grom here, and he's got Alex Charles loaded up. I don't know.
I'm so good.
I guess you could boom into Alex Charles. That works as well.
It's good to me. Another Warpath, not what we're looking for. StrifeCro has very few proactive plays. Let's go for the shield block. All right, that works. Clockwork Goblin. So does the Wrench Caliber here. Either are fine. He still has another Augmented Elic in the deck too, so he could justify saving it and then going for bigger bomb combos later on.
Somebody order a bomb!
So Clockwork Goblin hits the table. Alex Straza aggressively. Amnesiac's not wasting any time here. Nope. StrifeCro does have the bomb.
Okay.
I was like, he does have the armor to take it down.
So 4 bombs.
Okay.
Now in StrifeCro's deck, 1 in Amnesiac's deck, I believe. I think he's only played the Clockwork Goblin.
StrifeCro? Oh, he played Sephorium Bomber, and
Sephorium Bomber. Okay,
he also attacked with a Wrench Caliber early on. Oh no, that was Amnesiac.
No, that was Amnesiac. So 2 bombs in Amnesiac's deck. So this Dr. Boom would have 4 bombs.
That would have been a big deal.
But he can't trade them in, and right now, Amnesiac is presenting lethal damage with Grom plus Warpath. He does have a Mega Devastator.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ideal setup for StrifeCro was to Shield Slam and Blastmaster Boom and just go in. But now, instead, he uses a Mega Devastator. Needs to armor up and get, like, when your opponent Alexes you, you're anticipating that they're going to be very aggressive right back. So no opportunity for lethal. Amnesiac swiveling.
Haven't seen him swivel so far, and at the beginning of this match, or at the beginning of this game, sorry, game number 2, he was rubbing his eyes a little bit and looking a little bit weary, which was a little bit different of a posture than he had at the beginning of game number 1. That first game weighed on all of us, I think. StrifeCro's the only one that still just looks chipper as ever. He's just like, I love Hearthstone. Everything's great.
I mean, as much as some players can you know, have comments on the like, they choose to bring Warrior.
They did, yes.
They could have chose to try to beat something else. And you know, before you say like, well, Warriors is the only deck to bring. Warriors had a sub 50% win rate in this tournament, or in day number 1 so far. Because it's won the mirror.
But it also beat Hunter.
Oh, it might be 1 game over now because of that.
Yeah,
I forgot about PNC and Fireman.
Yeah.
But I mean, it lost against Mage twice. Lost against Rogue. Patra had the Bomb Warrior and lost against Shack.
But I think it also beat something, I don't know.
Yeah, it beat a Mage as well.
There's been a lot of Hearthstone played today, Dan. This is the
I can actually even
This
check.
is the 15th match of Hearthstone that we've played. Who is right? Now StrifeCro, he's the one with the pressure train rolling.
Yeah, finally gets that 3rd bomb in, able to summon the 6 bombs.
Yep, Amnesiac does have Brawl lined up quite nicely for this. He also has still a good amount of bombs left to shuffle in, and StrifeCro already has 4 in his deck. And Amnesiac also has the Grom plus Warpath to capitalize on.
Oh no! Oh, that was not the ideal scenario, but he can still use Dynamatic to trade in.
Yikes.
Well, I mean, the Dynamatic here is still annoying to have to use, but you can still use it.
Light the fuses!
He just didn't want to have to.
Right.
And also that Blast Shield was something that I think he also wanted to be able to use this turn.
The Augmented Elic, StrifeCro not gonna have too much to present as a threat right now, but can build powerful building blocks for this Beryllium Nullifier to go ham.
Reactor core online.
Yeah, but he saw that Amnesiac somewhat struggled to deal with Blast Rush. I don't know if that's an indication whatsoever, but this gives him that pressure train.
Right. This game is escalating a lot quicker. Both players, not like StrifeCro still has a handful of cards in his deck on top of the bombs, and you know, both players are within striking distance of dying.
Yeah. 14,
This would be a
3
good
out of the
time
14
for a
cards in
master
Amnesiac's
plan.
deck are bombs, and 4 out of the 16 in StrifeCro's deck are bombs. So roughly a fourth of each player's decks are bombs. And Amnesiac has even more ways to shuffle more in there. Yeah. But this this Clockwork Automaton that's juiced up is presenting quite a big threat. He has multiple ways to...
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the Mechanical Whelp. It seems to be a really nice lineup to deal 5 damage with the hero
I
power.
love that fuse thing.
And then you also have the 7/7 body that can then trade into one of the 1/1s.
Okay,
Yes.
then.
Shut it down.
Warpath. So this is Amnesiac clearing his hand. Also stopping any kind of magnetic abilities from coming out. I'm not sure if I like this play that much. I think Warpath actually still has a lot of application against mid-sized units.
It also, this is a much smaller use case, especially in this type of game, but activates Grom.
Right.
Now that may not come into effect, but there's a potential that it does. And
yeah, like you know, what if you needed to activate Grom next turn? He doesn't have a way to, at least in his like based off of the way things are developed. He doesn't have a way to deal with Grom.
Yes.
All right, he doesn't have a way to act. Karen Bloodhoof. Sticky, reasonable. Amnesiac gonna see what's in the Omega assembly, needs to find something nice like the Omega Devastator. StrifeCro's been getting his own fair share of pretty good Omega assemblies. Nope.
Oh, well, another Clockwork Goblin.
Okay, that's fair,
That's
yeah.
4 more bomb shuffles.
More bomb shuffles.
StrifeCro is not drawn into the Dr. Boom Mad Genius, so he's still just operating on just gain 2 armor a turn.
Somebody order a bomb.
It's true. And this should be a clear on the Beryllium Nullifier. The Faithful Lumi.
Plus the hero power.
Plus the hero power.
Lines up quite nicely.
I love that fuse.
Maybe even throw in the Demolisher.
Oh, yeah. Must kill minion.
More bombs. Better pressure.
Somebody order a bomb.
I mean, Demolisher's kind of like a bomb, but it's front-loaded. 2 more bombs going to StrifeCro's deck. He picks up Elysiana. A way to replace his deck. There's a lot of bombs in StrifeCro's deck right now.
6.
And he's going to replace them immediately. Duffel Banker. Dimensional Ripper, Tank from Mystic. Dimensional Ripper, like we said, has some good opportunities. Upside, Grom Hellscream. That's the kind of things you want to rip. Reckless Rocketeer. I don't mind ripping that either. Leroy Jenkins.
What?
Blastmaster Boom.
Cruel Taskmaster with the Grom, I think. If you pick the Grom, Cruel Taskmaster, that's a lot of just recurring damage.
I think StrifeCro might just win through, like, the charge damage that exists.
Yeah, and he had what? He had 14 cards remaining, and 6 of those were bombs. So he destroyed 8 cards of his deck to get rid of those 6 bombs. Very good game plan, and he's replaced it with a lot. So he knows that this game is very unlikely to go to fatigue. He still gives himself the option to do so by shuffling another Archivist Elysiana's deck. Very little downside to doing that. But this game will end one way or another, I think, before fatigue ever matters. And now
things are not looking very good for Amnesiac, period. I don't see for him a good way to even counter-offensive. Like, usually the Elysiana is a small opening, but he got some pretty bad Omega, some pretty weak Omega assembly discovers. And so now his best option is to just like load up this, which is a very middling board, and StrifeCro hits. I mean,
okay, so so Blastmaster Boom, yeah, that's better than Cool Taskmaster because he still has three bombs in Amnesiac.
Exactly. That's all I was saying.
I forgot about that. I was thinking of like an even matchup where both players had played Elysiana. A 7-mana 7/7 is not good. But this is a lot of pressure. Now, one thing he did destroy
is Dr. Boom Mad Genius. Yeah. That's actually really funny to think about. That StrifeCro might win this game without Dr. Boom Mad Genius being played. And Amnesiac's had it for a long time.
Yeah, well, he's going to win or lose without ever playing Dr. Boom Mad Genius because it's gone, Dan. It's gone forever.
Well, you could always discover through Luciana. Amnesiac, unhappy to see that, to say the least.
Yep.
Ziliax, not a bad pickup.
I mean, it's something. He does have the Blast Shield plus Shield Slam, which just straight up deals with the Blastmaster Boom, but these Boom Bots can wreak havoc.
So I think if you're Amnesia's camp, you might just want to go for broke here. You have 7 damage through the Ziliax, so you can put your opponent down to 18. You can Hero Power and Shield Slam the Blastmaster Boom. And then
push 4?
Okay,
push 7,
then.
I'd say.
Oh, okay. I was thinking a trade over the Baleful Banker, but I guess push 7 is probably better in that case.
Because I think your out is to Grom and go for the 10 damage.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he can't like Baleful Banker something meaningful. I guess he could Baleful Banker like the Cairn?
Grom.
Grom is probably better, yeah. Okay, I'm trying to think about some really interesting plays here that involve like destroying your own boom bots or brawling, and he's gonna do it.
Wow. I mean, he's not gonna give Amnesiac make him go back up to 30 by attacking all these small minions.
But what if it survives?
Oh no!
It survives. To ult to the face. It's not killing anything.
What?
And there's 7 damage staring at him back.
And StrifeCro's deck is Reckless Rocketeers, Leroy's.
Right. I mean, and that's like Amnesiac getting the benefit of the brawl when StrifeCro had his own Blastmaster Boom survive. It's like the one target you don't want to live is living. And Amnesiac's like, yep, all right, well, I guess it's time for me to finally receive the good end of the random outcomes. And now StrifeCro has to like play defensively. He's gonna Warpath 2 more times. Amnesiac can start going in. Oh, that bomb. There's 3 bombs in the deck.
Yeah, 2 left now. 0 in StrifeCro's deck.
I mean, Amnesiac can add in. He has Wrench Caliber, Demolisher, and the I mean, that's 7 damage right now through the Kaboom, the Hero Power, the Wrench Caliber, the weapon, and the attack. Puts StrifeCro down to 11. Demolisher can hit for 2. And then the bomb can explode. I mean, this is still very doable.
Yeah.
Demolisher, get in there.
And also Warpath Grom now. He's got 10 damage loaded up from hand.
I don't know if I even mind playing Alarmo Bot to pull out Grom ahead of time. Obviously, this 1 damage is probably better. Just, this is the way you press in. Oh my gosh, he had all this damage and it just can't get through.
The whole game turned on 1 brawl. That's the whole game.
I mean, it's not over. Ziliax gonna get in there.
If this Demolisher hits Ziliax, it is over.
What? 2 more bombs. Blastmaster.
So he Groms Warpaths, trades in Demolisher,
Goes up to
13
15.
face. So he'd put him down to 3 with 2 bombs in deck. And just a Grom on board. Like, that's another thing.
Right. He doesn't know what the cards are being pulled off Elysiana except for Blastmaster Boom. And he's also drawn his bombs. And Warp has been used. This is a gut check moment here for Amnesiac.
But if he goes for that play and he doesn't draw a bomb and StrifeCro draws Leroy, then he has counter lethal. Because he's at 9.
Well, he doesn't have a defensive play, though. He dies to double Leroy either way, and that's something you're not playing around.
That's double Leroy.
So I think Amnesiac can go for this Blastmaster Boom play. Take the safe approach. Is he going for gold? Kills both minions.
So there's 2
Shuffles 2 bombs.
So much can happen. He could draw Leroy. He could draw 2 bombs in a row.
2 out of 10. Archivist Elysiana to replace his deck. But then he's losing to tempo. He has to Leroy clear. He has to Leroy clear. Or if he's super bold, he will...
Reckless Rocketeer. No, because...
No, he could Archivist and Hero Power, but...
oh, okay, yeah.
That's a losing play most of the time, because you know Amnesiac probably has Grom.
And you also know that then you're just left with the cards in your deck. But I guess you're working on killing him.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to go for the super greedy play. The super...
I mean, Grom wins it here, but also Demolisher...
Wait, there's a 1 bomb left?
Demolisher gets the... Kobe!
Oh, my goodness. All right, that was exciting.
That's pretty funny.
Because there was 1 bomb left in Amnesiac's deck, wasn't there?
I thought he hit 2 in a row. He hit 2 bombs in a row.
He hit 2 in a row, so yeah, that was the last 2. Yeah. So,
what a marathon of a series. And of course, you know, you wouldn't want it any other way. Going to game number 3 to determine it all.
Yeah, so StrifeCro's plan there was if he goes face with Reckless Rocketeer, the Demolisher hits the Reckless Rocketeer and he has no points of damage in hand. He goes down to 1, dodges a bomb, draws double Leroy, even post Blast Shield, he would go up to 11, he would have 12 damage. That was his plan. That's what he thought his best chance to win was.
Right, because if he Leroy'd, he gives his opponent development again, and he's back in the same boat as before.
Well, not even in the same boat. Because of Blast Shield, he doesn't even give himself a chance to win.
Oh, you're
ever.
right.
So I think that's honestly his best play.
Okay. All right. Well, StrifeCro figured out his best out in that position, but it didn't pan out. And now we're going to game number 3. When we come back, we're going to find out what happens at the conclusion of day number 1 here for the Hearthstone Grandmasters.
Well met, friend. Ooh. Let's get this over with.
I win!
Oh, what an amazing game. Oh, well played.
Here's to the winner.
It's time for the final game here of day number 1 of Hearthstone America's Grandmasters. We have one last game between StrifeCro and Amnesiac, our featured match, going the distance. And going the distance, they are doing. This is our longest series of the day.
Yes.
And it's been quite the roller coaster, but I mean, honestly, you kind of want it to be really close and contentious. You don't want it to be too one-sided. And last game felt really tense towards the very end with the Leroys, the Reckless Rocketeers. And you kind of pointing out that StrifeCro needed to do that in order to set up the best possible case to win, but it was quite the explosive finish.
Yeah, those are the kinds of warrior matchups that I like. You know, still a little bit slow. I prefer that happen slightly earlier in the game, but you can't ask for much more. And Dan, we've almost made it.
We've almost made it. It's been a long
8 hours
day.
in, almost 8 hours in.
Yeah, definitely one of the longer broadcasts that I think we'll have all year round.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It won't even, you know, when the majority of players bring Bombware, it still is not often that 4 out of the 5 matches we have in a given day will be mirror matchups. And I think people will adjust, but we'll see. Maybe we'll just eat our words, and next week we'll have just as much. But the funny thing is, once this broadcast ends, you guys can stay up for another 4 hours, and then the Asia Pacific broadcast will start. So this is the promised land of competitive Hearthstone viewing experience, just non-stop, nearly 24 hours.
What's so funny too is that I know like the streamers are like, well, you know, if they broadcast, they take up like almost like half the day on the weekends. Like, well, actually, with the control warrior meter, streamers will always be conflicting with Grandmasters, if that's the point.
Yes. But let's get into it. The final game of the day and the final match of the day. Amnesiac and StrifeCro have both decided to stay on the same decks as last time. So we have those little bit more package.
Yeah, look at that match history bar. That tells you control warrior versus control warrior in a nutshell. One more time.
Let's get it.
For the people. Hit the button.
Hit it.
Smash that. Smash that like and subscribe button.
If you enjoyed this armor up, be sure to hit that armor up right below the armor up.
And gain 2 armor. Yes! One more time. You don't need to do anything, Amnesiac. You don't have anything to play on curve. Yes!
Oh, man.
Hit that retweet. One more time. No, before you play the Clockwork Goblin, there's only one strictly correct play here, StrifeCro. Before we play it, you gotta play that Clockwork Goblin. Do the right thing. All right. Yes!
Oh, man. So, Dan, I'm a viewer of many different sports. I do watch a decent amount of League of Legends, and there was
Sorry, I'm gone.
There was a crowd metagame at one point where oftentimes in slow matchups, the crowd would cheer every time a ward was killed.
Yes,
because that was the most exciting thing that was happening in the match.
What now?
But this is the equivalent. Us cheering every time someone armors up.
I was having fun with that. Yeah. But yes, this Karen very sticky. I like the flavorful emote of how Garrosh will crush himself with one of his mortal enemies. Which I don't know if that's lorically accurate.
I don't even think that's grammatically accurate.
Dr. Boom Mad Genius. The card that Amnesiac was thinking about. Is there too much pressure on the board? Does he need to respond? I think he's okay. I think you're all right taking 5 damage to set up Dr. Boom and get rush for the rest of the game. Seems all right.
I'm so glad.
Maybe about this punch to the face. Bane really wants revenge. He's only got 1 target on his sight. That's Garrosh. StrifeCro.
He sees that Amnesiac's played Dr. Boom. He just needs to find Dr. Boom.
Yeah.
He didn't even find it last game. He actually destroyed Dr. Boom Mad Genius with Elysiana.
And he could have used it.
He definitely could have used it.
Yeah.
I mean, he died. So, yes, he could have used it. I mean, we thought he was going to win that game, and then one brawl,
right.
the brawl that changed the face of game number 2 of Amnesiac versus StrifeCro in the Hearthstone Grandmasters.
Or you can armor up again. Do you see the meme I posted on Twitter yesterday? It's the Drake one where he's kind of like denying one thing and accepting.
Oh yes, I saw that. Yeah, that was a good one.
So he's rejecting Captain America's like Iron Force. The armor up button is what it's about. It's gaining armor as warrior and staying alive as long as possible. Delivery drone available here for Amnesiac. No, this is like where's your Dynamatics? It's like usually it's been so useless, but I think Amnesiac's found multiple uses of it and not having the ability to have it on hand.
Okay then.
You could delivery drone into the Dynamatic.
Yeah. Funny thing is, StrifeCro in this particular deck list has removed Dynamatics.
That makes sense. It's generally useless against warrior.
Yeah. Now the one card that we didn't even talk about very much that StrifeCro has included in this secondary deck is Mojo Master Z.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
Let's say you're the first player to play Archivist Elysiana. And then you play Mojo Master Z before your opponent has a chance to play theirs.
That's cool.
Because then, theoretically, they're in fatigue. And also, they can play it on 8 and just wait 2 turns. But then they don't Baleful Banker alongside of it.
Right.
So they effectively have to wait 4 turns, in which case they're taking fatigue. They also have to deal with the 7/7, or they probably dealt with the last turn and 5/5. So, pretty interesting tech conclusion. Do enjoy seeing the differences in these players' secondary and tertiary decks.
Yeah, it does make it for much more interesting gameplay with all the spell types. StrifeCro pulling the Militia Commander. Trying to find ways to be more proactive, searching for something substantial to play. His best is a Mega Devastator on curve. He's drawing so aggressively as well. Sorry, a Mega Devastator is not on curve, for tempo.
Defend the gates!
Amnesiac, significant advantage both in the fatigue and in the tempo because he has the ability of Dr. Boom's mech rush to get back in it. Doesn't exactly have the mechs that he wants to rush though right now. Still, something as simple as the microbots plus hero power allows him to pick apart the board a little bit.
Yeah, Militia Commander.
Yep, the nullifier, really good.
I was thinking Militia Commander plus hero power and just take out the 2 biggest things. But this works as well.
I think you just want to get expensive cards out of his hand because he has a Mega Assembly. And he has Harrison Jones.
That's true. Beryllium Nullifier is much more difficult to play, especially much more difficult to get it magnetized. So. Yeah.
Also, I think this is StrifeCro's second militia commander, therefore it's harder for him to remove this nullifier. He doesn't even care. 5 upstairs.
He's saying much more damage.
Yeah, we delivered those bombs straight to the attic.
And you know what, Dan? I don't even want to keep track of bombs. I'm sick of it.
I'm keeping track of bombs.
Let's just fly by the seat of our pants.
3 bombs in his deck.
No, come on, man. They just ruined my moment. I was about to take a stand.
Doesn't feel good, does it, huh, TJ?
I was taking a stand.
Actually, he shuffled 2 bombs in, so he gets 4 bombs.
4 bombs. Get your bomb
Amnesiac's basement light is getting so bright that he is ascending into a lucent bark.
Piercing blue eyes.
Epic project to override, doesn't want to draw necessarily with the Harrison. Commander, help clean everything up here.
Oh, I love that fuse thing.
And how about gain 7 armor alongside of it? Seems like a good turn to me.
46 life versus 51. StrifeCro pretty far behind. Blastmaster Boom, nice pickup here.
Still no rush on the boom bots.
Oh, you're right, no rush on the boom bots. It's so annoying.
But if you force out a brawler or a warpath here, then it means that Amnesiac's also giving up his minion. So honestly, what else is he gonna do? I guess look for Dr. Boom Mad Genius. But it is nowhere to be found.
Yep. Full bots on the board. And Amnesiac finds the Grom, so he doesn't really need that right now. Looking for a way to potentially get an easy snipe on the Blastmaster Boom. He has several ways he can go about it. He has Omega Devastator, he has Zilliax, he even just has the Zap Cannon through the hero power to just eliminate it. Could utilize Rush of all these minions as well to help pick apart that board and safely cross the Blastmaster, excuse me, obstacle in front of him. Harrison Jones is not something I was immediately thinking about, but totally okay to start off with that. It's kind of like drawing first.
Yeah, he's even with this plus the bombs accounted for in his deck. There's 4 bombs. He's still 4 cards ahead of the T.
Right.
So can feel free to draw cards and just try and match him on resources. Question is, what does he do afterwards? Can Brawl or Zilliax onto his Beryllium Nullifier? And we've seen so many punishing Brawls. He would be very sad if Blastmaster Boom were to win this. Oh, okay.
Oh, Harrison won.
But did he really
Can he survive? Oh.
Survive.
He can dodge traps. He can dodge the pits, but he can't dodge a bomb. Should have taught him the 4 Ds of dodgeball. StrifeCro here picks up Mojo Master Zihi. Not that applicable. Kind of awkward, in fact. What's really funny is that if he draws his own Mad Genius, he can't even play it next turn.
Can't even play it. Does have a health advantage now, and
yeah, the boom.
But Dynamatic. Last time I checked, Mojo Master Z, he is not a mech.
Easy sniperina. StrifeCro doesn't really have anything good. He's gonna pass. Just drag this game out, wait for the Archivist Elysiana and the Baleful Banker scenario.
But Mad Genius should be his next card. It would make sense. It costs 7, gives 7 armor. It would be the 7th to last card in the deck.
Right.
So it should
Very
be
thematic.
Yeah, it should be the next card.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
Amnesiac doesn't have many bombs shuffled in StrifeCro's deck. Two more for good measure. Starting to crack it a little bit. Things are looking a little shaky for StrifeCro, represented through Amnesiac's cam. Wrench Caliber comes in. More bombs available to shuffle into Amnesiac's deck.
How many are there now?
I think 4.
Still 4.
No attack. Bomb. Amnesiac can press in here. First he can discover through delivery drone. If he can find a good magnetic, he's good to go. A little distracted as his cam seems to be kind of wavering back and forth. A Beryllium Nullifier would be absolutely disgusting in this position.
Yes, it would. He does have a Mega Devastator, though, so that's the one.
But he can't play it because he has 8 mana. Oh, wait, he has also 8 mana, too, so even if he discovers it, he can't play the Nullifier.
Oh, that's right. Mojo Master Z throwing a wrench to our plans.
Right. I was so focused on StrifeCro's ability to respond to it, but he can't even discover anything super substantial. What if he just gets a straight up War Gear? That's also good. Security Rover.
Yeah, it fits the curve.
Oh, I love that view.
I think Security Rover makes sense.
Yep. Protects him against Warpath. Wants the additional health from
Punching with Divine Shield. No swing with the weapon. StrifeCro picks up Warpath.
Since the bombs were shuffled, it's still going to be the 7th to last card of the day. So can hold true, Dan.
You're right.
All right, so it can Warpath 4 times, so it can clear off the board with the Wrench Caliber swing as well.
Yeah. I get Amnesiac's legitimate concern for his life total right now. Well, not right this very moment, but, you know, Eternian Rover fits a lot more mana efficient plays and also helps you gain armor. Another bomb. Shuffled in.
Throws in the last Warpath for good luck.
Yeah, offering one for the gods. Old and new. Bomb comes into the hand. Does Amnesiac's last turn develop without Omega Devastator being a possibility? No Augmented Elic because he can't really afford to play that in the Blastmaster Boom. The 3rd bomb is shuffled in. Amnesiac can finally go all out with his own aggression, something he's been lining up for. This is clearly why he was setting up the attacks the way it did. Bomb being drawn here for StrifeCro. No Shield Slam immediately available unless he got Dr. Boom Mad Genius. How did TJ know? It's the 7th to last card.
I told you.
What? Is that how it works?
Man. Yeah, it always is. Amnesiac tried to delay it, but didn't work out.
It's like...
And luckily for StrifeCro, a bomb was the 8th to last card. So then he could get to the 7th, which was Dr. Boom the whole time.
Unbelievable. Still, Boom bots are very intimidating. About time StrifeCro got Dr. Boom. Can't even utilize the hero power, though. Missed delivery. Didn't even leave a note. At least leave the note.
Wait a second. 6 boom bots. If they all deal 4, that's 24. This is lethal. In fact, one boom bot.
This would
yeah,
be
3 boom bots
a master plan.
can deal 3.
Right, and then as long as these boom bots deal almost max damage, Grom plus Whirlwind, not Whirlwind.
There are still, what, is there 1 bomb left in Amnesiac's deck? Or 2 bombs? I don't know, Kev.
There's 2 bombs.
I'm going for it.
There's 2 bombs in StrifeCro's deck, you're correct.
Okay, then.
I like it. Personally, I like it a lot.
I'm going for it. You're attacking with all the boom bots. It's a guaranteed at least 22. That's if every boom bot deals 1.
You know the Mega Devastators are coming.
On average, it's 28.
Okay, then.
Man. Amnesiac being so meticulous because he recognizes that as fun and flashy as it is to have that lethal, he doesn't want to go for it. If StrifeCro draws the bomb, I'd be so sad. All right.
So it was a very low chance to be lethal.
Turning Rover and Vicious Scrap Hound.
Plus a Blast Shield. He's got a chance to gain a lot of armor.
Scrap Hound plus the Zillia X. The Dream. Turning Rover, Blast Shield like you're talking about. Good stuff all around here for StrifeCro to survive. We still have a lot more Hearthstone to play. Decent outcome on the boom bot landing. More bombs able to be shuffled in for Amnesiac, but he knows that StrifeCro is going to get close to the Elysiana, so maybe he holds on to it, because if he invests a lot into the bombs now, forces his opponent to Elysiana. Maybe that also kind of plays into his plans, though, because if he forces the Elysiana, then he has a good way to develop into that. Nothing looks really appetizing from his perspective, though. Does he have any rushed minions left?
Amnesiac?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
If he had a militia commander, he could go for a nice town crier militia commander.
Because he did play his Zillia. Actually played at least 1 militia commander, so there's a potential for a second one. So it's possible that he has the second one somewhere. But I think he has played both. There's a lot of board battles going on when they were both trying to play just 1 card from their hand at a time.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
If he plays a hero power, he fills up his board and has no way to clear him off, but... Oh, he can clear up 1.
Turning him Rover, pretty much nullifying all the damage
Wait,
to the boom bots.
He didn't get a card off. He has a full hand.
Does he? He does.
So Baleful Banker.
Yeah. Baleful Banker, but also bomb possibilities are shut off. He does have a couple bombs in his deck.
He does, but Baleful Banker could be a big deal.
Okay, then.
Maybe. I mean, again, I think the Baleful Banker stuff absolutely useful for sure, but not incredibly necessary all the time.
Yeah, it's necessary when both players get suboptimal Elysianas, or they both get really powerful Elysianas.
Right.
If there's some kind of difference, like we witnessed in the last game, then it's a moot point. It doesn't often happen. Also, Amnesiac, I believe, is like 4 cards ahead. If we account for like 3 bombs, and has 8 actual cards left or 7 actual cards left, we account for 4.
I think there's 4 bombs.
Okay.
In his deck. So overdrawing a bomb is very likely. In this case, it's a Dynomatic.
Yeah.
Does he take it? Does he just pass? Let him develop a little bit more?
Daddy wants to go for the bombs plan. At least I don't think so.
No, I think he wants to
play Elysiana.
yeah, he wants the bombs after his opponent plays Elysiana. In this case, like, StrifeCro has so many bombs shuffled into Amnesiac's deck that it's almost half of his deck at this point.
I can
wait no longer.
Okay, gonna force out a Mega Devastator. So what Amnesiac could do is to do force plays. Oh, bomb activates. That kind of makes it a little bit scary for StrifeCro. Another bomb activates.
I'm almost out of cards.
So by doing this, StrifeCro has to deal with the Grom, which gives Amnesiac the opportunity to shuffle more bombs in because he doesn't play Elysiana, and then he takes the damage before Elysiana.
Ah, that's smart.
Yeah.
I was thinking Grom, I don't know what the Grom was doing there, but with 2 bombs left in the deck, he knows that he's pushing in here.
Right.
And if he goes Augmented Elec plus Clockwork Gnome and the hero power, there's a... We talked about this scenario, Dan. 4 out of the 5 cards in his decks would be bombs, and he'd be below 20 health.
Two more bombs goes in Amnesiac's deck. He's got 6 bombs by my count out of the 12. Bomb 1. Omega Assembly.
Is this the moment we've been waiting for?
I'm not sure. This also could just be a Warpath play.
It could be, but then this turn that Amnesiac seemingly set up to try and guarantee bomb damage by forcing removal onto the Grom would go to waste a little bit. He's got a little bit of life total to work with, but not too much because he needs to play his own Elysiana. So it looks like he could still go for it, but then he wouldn't be able to fit in the hero power with Elec plus the Clockwork Goblin.
I think that doesn't matter because he still gets tempo. Like, the Elysiana doesn't fight back for the board the way this other stuff does.
Yeah.
So I think this still makes sense from Amnesiac's point of view. StrifeCro now is most likely to take at least 5 damage on average.
For some reason, I thought he was shuffling.
Bomb.
Oh my goodness. It's been a long day, Dan. He's only shuffling.
Bomb!
All right.
That's it. I'm out of cards.
That was the ideal sequence for Amnesiac, getting StrifeCro down to 11. And now StrifeCro doesn't feel comfortable enough to Elysiana despite being in fatigue. The plan for Amnesiac is working out perfectly. His best chance, now he has the vicious Scrap Hound and the Ziliax to climb back. Which is, quite frankly, a really powerful turn.
It is very powerful.
It doubles up.
And then Amnesiac doesn't have any pressure to follow it up. He can Omega Assembly and obviously get pressure.
For reference, StrifeCro can gain 27 life this turn. Oh, sorry, not this turn.
Would be a good time
he can gain 27 life if the Vicious Scalehide and the Ziliax trade 2.
Yeah, he gains 17 life this
17 life this turn. 27 life if that thing goes down, but Amnesiac should be able to stop it. Mega Assembly needs to get big stuff. Gets very middling. He gets middling minions, to say the least here. Amnesiac would prefer to take down this Omega Devastator Ziliax combo. Has the Warpath and Shield Slam combinations to do so. Omega Assembly first in case he picks up powerful tempo plays through Omega Devastator, which he finds.
Wow.
Big time draws here for Amnesiac. Not rushing. Omega Devastator almost certainly to come down here. Has room to hero power. Maybe even attach the Bronze Gatekeeper for a little bit extra damage.
Okay, then.
It seems good to me. I can't find a better play than this.
Save the best for last. Oh, I love that.
Bronze Gatekeeper.
Yep.
Kaboom. StrifeCro looks like he's getting pushed out of this game ever so slightly. And the force plays from Amnesiac have made Elysiana an impossibility. Now he has to react again.
This story deserves a new ending.
Work on Elite. Regenerating. Guardian Thug? I don't know. I guess Loose Specimen is your best. Arcanite Reaper, pretty strong, but you can't really afford to trade into minions, so Arcanite Reaper is pretty much just damage to the face.
Witchwood Piper is weird.
If you pick the Specimen, Untamed Beastmaster is pretty funny.
Yes, it is.
There's also, yeah, Witchwood Piper kind of makes sense too, and just like to keep your hand economy high and pick a cheaper option.
Yeah, but if you're picking expensive options... Oh, what? Soul Thrays, Baron Geddon?
I think Rabid Worgen makes sense here too. Well, the problem with weapons is you can't really swing at minions, and part of the advantages of having weapons is to be able to swing at minions.
Let's stash that away.
Well, Omega Assembly.
Or Delivery Drone.
Or Delivery Drone.
2 bombs. 4 damage off.
So he needs some multiple magnetics here in order to piece together.
Or 1 War Gear.
Or 1 War Gear, that's right.
A Mega Devastator again. Amnesiac finally getting his Mega Devastators. Remember, earlier in the series, he was getting nothing really off his Omega Assemblies, while StrifeCro was the one getting really good Omega Devastators off like Delivery Drone.
Yep.
And now the tables have turned.
Okay, then.
He's trying to find the best way to navigate around this, and honestly, he should know that StrifeCro still has a Brawl, because he went through all of his cards in Fatigue, so he has access to everything. So the only piece of removal he has left is Brawl plus Dynamatic. Dynamatic, very tough card to use when you're in this Dr. Boom War, because everything's a mech, so it doesn't really do much except run 3.
So StrifeCro's last potential turn here. Does have the vicious scramble, Scrap Hound, plus the Bronze Gatekeeper and Skater Boy. The skateboard.
Skateboard and Skater Boy. Oh man.
Trying really hard to hold the tension here.
Dan, you're just a skater boy. I'm about to say, see you later, boy.
It's not bad. It gives you armor.
Yeah. I think he has to go for the Brawl here, though. But Brawl, if he loses the game. He could Skater Boy Brawl and then Vicious Scale Hide or Vicious Scrap Hound, whatever's left, to survive at 2.
Yeah, he could also just Brawl and then Vicious Scrap Hound plus Bronze Gatekeeper.
Access denied.
And then the Brawl. He needs to win this Brawl or else he's dead. He won the Brawl!
What?
Amnesiac!
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, how does this keep going on?
This is payback for all those Omega Devastators. That's what it is.
Yeah, but he's still in a pretty good spot. I mean, he's still got a lot of hand economy to go.
He does.
He needs to not fall too far behind in tempo, though. That's the big area of concern for himself.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
At 9 cards, can play Town Crier. If he doesn't draw a Rush minion, he can play a Mega Assembly and then react. Also has a very weird opportunity to play Alexstrasza for tempo.
Okay, then.
So he did still have a Militia Commander in deck, so not full value from the Omega Assembly.
I love that fuse thing.
But at this point, it just feels like he's looking for any possible thing to try and eke out more damage.
Yep, Militia Commander. I think you probably just Hero Power this 3/3 so you don't give him extra life.
Yeah.
And then play the Vicious Scrap Hound. Amnesiac's still in a good spot, despite losing that Brawl. StrifeCro needed a little bit of a miracle, still needs another one here, but the Dynamatic here is fantastic.
Well, it's not too fantastic because it doesn't kill off cleanly because of the Town Crier.
Just Hero Power it with the...
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you should be able to get it.
He also has Mechanical Whelp. He can Mechanical Whelp trade into the Scrap Pound and then trade the 7/7 into the Militia Commander and Hero Power down. He's still left with a 7/5 at the end of that turn.
He also has Barongeddon.
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one.
That's the one thing I was like, Barongeddon feels like it's risky, but at the same time, I understand that StrifeCro was thinking that he doesn't have a lot of good access to AoE.
Yeah. The one thing about the Mechanical Whelp that is a little bit of a disadvantage is Dino-Matic, he may not find other targets. He knows Alexstrasza is left, so I guess that's the big one.
Yeah.
Because Dino-Matic seemingly takes care of Alexstrasza, whereas nothing else too much does, and this leaves him with the most board presence possible.
Reaver is up for Amnesiac. Struggling to find words here, GJ. Oh, the bombs. Full force, more bombs. Wait, this is way closer than I thought it was going to be. Does he even have any minions with the Boom Reaver?
And now Amnesiac's in StrifeCro's seat because he's at 14.
Wait, the last card is a bomb in Amnesiac's deck.
Is it?
StrifeCro shuffles a lot of bombs.
It'd be more exciting if there was.
Despair. Destruction.
Well, it's not a minion.
And StrifeCro needs to answer this, but he can play Barongeddon.
Barongeddon brings it down to 12.
Barongeddon's genius.
The next turn he has 9? Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is way closer.
I forgot about all the bombs, and that's why winning the brawl was so big for StrifeCro.
If last card is a bomb, doesn't StrifeCro just win?
Oh, it's not a bomb.
It's not a bomb. It's a Wrench Caliber.
Oh, okay. Apologies there. So you can do this and Warpath. And still Wrench Caliber.
Oh, man.
That's big. Being able to add 3 damage here.
I mean, that's 6 damage plus the potential for 10.
Right.
Over the course of the remainder of the game. And if he gets early bombs, even better. And he knows Barongeddon is another card in the deck, which is, I mean, at this point with StrifeCro's life total, could be a liability. Abomination also.
But he can just, okay, so C4ium Bomber, guaranteed 5 damage. Amnesiac will be taking 1 fatigue damage. That puts him down to 6. You have the hero power, which is down to 5.
Do you Abomination also?
Okay, then.
You have 9 damage on board.
Okay.
You're doing a guaranteed 5.
C4ium Bomber and Abomination.
He can't play. He can't play Archivist Elysiana.
Right.
That's it. I'm out of cards.
He has to Warpath. He has to Warpath. He has to Warpath 4 times. Hero power and then pray for 1 bomb. Because if the Kaboom will. Actually, no, he doesn't have to Kaboom because the Abomination will clear everything.
Yeah, the Abomination will clear it off, and it'll also deal 2 damage to StrifeCro, which would put him down to 7, and then a Wrench Caliber swing would put him down to 4.
Okay, then.
And then he goes for the bomb, but then he's at 4.
The alternative is to Alex himself down.
Then he's at 4, and he dies to Barongeddon because he has the Zap Hero power.
So then, is Amnesiac's best play to go for this bomb finish then? I think it might be. Time is running out. The rope is burning.
Uh-oh.
The warpath is coming. Is it the path to victory?
This is what we wanted.
Or is it the path to a bitter day 1 defeat? 2 bombs in the deck. 9 cards.
Oh, dude, StrifeCro just smiling.
And he's gonna rope it down. From downtown.
Did he get it?
StrifeCro fist pumps. I don't think he got it. And that is going to end the series.
Oh my goodness.
By the narrowest of margins.
Wow.
StrifeCro takes the first victory, the last match of the day, by the skin of his teeth. What a back and forth series. And if you talk about boring warrior versus warrior matchups, that wasn't one of them.
And oftentimes with Elysiana, I feel like 70% it comes down to that, and then 30% it comes down to just outvaluing even later. But that was exciting. Those are the kinds of what you like to see. There was 2 bombs in the deck, 9 cards left remaining. All or nothing. He realized, he thought for a long time, is that my best way to win? He could defensively Alexstrasza, but then he pretty much dies anyway to the fatigue damage, plus the zap, plus the 9 damage on board.
Except if he... I mean, there's a possibility of that. Also, he could have gotten Blast Shield to withstand the pressure for next turn, and then Shield Slam and push with Alexstrasza damage if his opponent says the same thing. But that's also not guaranteed. Yeah. And I think the odds are still relatively similar, right? Like, you have to bank on a hero power swapping at the right moment versus going for the bomb when at that very turn.
Yeah.
A lot of questions, a lot of potential answers here. StrifeCro is on the line. Can you hear us, Kong? Yo, can you hear us?
Can you hear me? Yeah, yes. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, so what a marathon of a series back and forth. How do you feel about those games?
Oh man, my heart is racing right now. I popped off after the bomb. I actually knew he had to do that after I played like the 2/5 drops, you know. So when I did that, I knew it was already gonna be like I think 2 out of 9 or something where I'd die. But it happened. It happened so much. Even like the second game, it was like a similar situation, right? So I'm done.
It's great. How's it feel to kind of like be back into the spotlight of competing against StrifeCro? I know it's been a hot minute for you to dedicate yourself fully to Hearthstone, but you've kind of been back on the track and started with a win. Must feel really good.
Yeah, it feels good. After I've been like accepted GM, I guess this week I did a lot of practicing. It's kind of nice to get into the kind of like competitive spirit again. It's definitely been a while. I actually, like in my latter games and my practice, I don't think I played as well as here. Like I think I played these games pretty good. It's like I haven't really competed in so long that like practice doesn't feel the same, you know. So I can't really focus the same as like a high stakes match. So yeah, like this was really fun for me actually. So hopefully after playing this, I can play even better.
Ignited the fire a little bit.
Yeah, that's cool to see. And I told the story on broadcast earlier, StrifeCro, and I'm sorry for breaking your privacy here, but you posted in the GM Discord earlier that backdrop was incredibly difficult to build. And so I have to ask you, what was more difficult, playing a 3-hour-long best of 5 or best of 3 specialist series with Warrior Mirror, or building that very luscious backdrop that you have there?
I think the games are a bit harder. I mean, if I could do
correct
it again,
answer. Correct answer.
I would play the games again. You know, the games are fun. The building is not fun for me. I have like a couple of weird stories building. I'll go over them real quick. But like, I built my nightstand one time and the door didn't even close. I'm just like too lazy. I'm like, whatever, you know. Also, like my last computer that I built, like the whole back was like hollow, and I didn't put the plate on. After I built it, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to touch it anymore. I just didn't care. Eventually, when I built stuff, I just like give up. You know, I'm super lazy.
Yeah, I can tell. The screen needs to be about 6 inches closer to cover the entire camera background, because we see like you go into the bathroom and you walk in and out.
It's cool.
It's a little bit more revealing than I think you want to.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right.
Hey, I'm not judging, but it's been real fun and a pleasure. And you said you didn't like building things, but you built yourself a pretty nice head start here with a 1-0 victory. Congratulations and good luck in your match the rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
All right, well, StrifeCro is back. He is better than ever and able to have fun with competing in Hearthstone, which is kind of like a big thing. Part of the reason why StrifeCro took a step back because he felt like he was burnt out competing and it wasn't really getting the same rush. And now it's the opposite. He feels like invigorated by competition once more, and that's what you want to see. And more importantly, that's the kind of intensity that you want back and forth. I wish all the series of best of 2 can come down to those narrow margins, because you could see Amnesiac working really hard, because at one point I felt like the body language of Amnesiac seemed like he was almost like, oh, I don't think I'm going to win this. I think I'm just going to be whatever. He was like kind of moving around, looking left and right, not really focused. Towards the last few turns, you can see how much drama was building up from it.
Yeah, and StrifeCro even said it throughout the match. Like, he just looked chipper the whole time. And he said in his interview, he'd play those matches again. And not many players in that spot would say that, because that's a best of 3, and that's grueling to have to play for that long with pretty much just the same 3 games over and over again. And, you know, just that kind of attitude and his talk about practice, and kind of weird, but also at the same time cool to get back into that competitive mindset, and knowing that he's still got it after saying that he plays better in this match than he has in his practice throughout the rest of the week. So kind of a cool start for a cool guy.
He can play those games again, but I'm not going to cast him.
No, he can play them off stream.
And recap what's happened today in the first day of competition here in the Americas Grandmasters. Frozen started things off by defeating Muzzy in a 2-1 series off of his Mech-Cthulhu Tex. Then Race, with the greedier warrior list, took down Naogidan. Then Eddie versus Bloodyface, another story of Team Civil War, but Eddie takes down the match 2-0 behind his slower, but yet also more aggressive lineup. It was kind of a very interesting mix of both. Then we had a surprising upset as Firebat takes down PNC, not because of the player caliber, because we thought Mech Hunter would be a lot more effective, and fell short. And then lastly, of course, StrifeCro taking down Amnesiac. Definitely the series of the day for me.
Yeah,
very appropriately,
it was a featured matchup. Yeah, definitely the longest but most exciting, at least finishes of all of them. And yeah, Firebat. I loved his talk about preparation. I was slightly worried, but Firebat, 75 games in the last 2 days of Mech Hunter versus Control Warrior.
That's a lot of games.
Yeah, that is a lot. And so deck lists were submitted. I believe they were due at 4 a.m. Local time, our local time, on Thursday. And we're playing these we started these matches at like 12:30 or 1 o'clock on Saturday. So that's less than 2 days. So he has been putting in a ton of practice, and he even said earlier, you said he was posting Discord messages,
I saw
looking for practice partners. So love to see that the players are, all in, right, practicing and making sure that they have the correct lineups, even if they all set it on Bomb Warrior.
It's fun. It's highest stakes against the highest level of competition, and we've had a wonderful day. But we're going to start over in just a few hours as well. Asia Pacific with Raven and Language Hacker will be back. So if you guys enjoy the competition, make sure to hit that follow button here, twitch.tv/playhearthstone. Until then, for Frody and TJ and the rest of the gang here in the Burbank studios, see you next time for more Hearthstone action.